From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Folks, good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to today's Practitioner Brief. A lot of things to talk about today. So before we get started, let me just please ask you to subscribe to our podcast right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. If you're listening on your favorite podcast listening platform, please subscribe right now. Give us a 5-star review. But most importantly, if you share this podcast with your friends and colleagues, that would be amazing. You can find our entire all of our podcasts, everything on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com, including today's practitioner brief with all the relevant links to every single website, anywhere you want to go and do so. So let's get right into today's show and today's practitioner brief. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of stuff happening in the cyber front. If we thought that next week we get a few days of just, the mundane Monday, Tuesday stuff, and then, Wednesday would just be, sending everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas kind of note, and Thursday and Friday would be at home with our families. Cyber criminals have an entirely different idea, and that also shows the toll of cybersecurity on the people that work in this industry. Burnout is real, cyber fatigue is real, and you got to have a real passion to want to be in this industry. You can't just be a careerist. You will get burnout and you will walk away. You will have some issues with it if you don't have a passion for this industry, and that's really critical. So let's get right into what's happening today. Ransomware gangs automate a payload delivery with SystemBC malware. A malicious RubyGem package used in cryptocurrency supply chain attack. The Killswitch has been found for the malware used in the SolarWinds attack. And Trend Micro patches a serious flaw in product used by companies and governments. So again, another alert there. So let's start with the SystemBC, which is a commodity malware sold on the underground marketplaces. Anyone who's in CTI, my friends over at Hacker Valley Studios that talk about this all the time. Some of the great people I had, including Jason and some others, who've talked about ransomware as a service and operations to hide malicious traffic and automate ransomware payload delivery on networks of compromised victims. The malware, which was first spotted nearly 2 years ago in 2018 and had several campaigns last year as a virtual private network, has allowed ransomware gangs and their affiliates to deploy persistent backdoor and target systems in the form of a Tor SOC5 proxy. This helped them create an obfuscated communication channel for automated ransomware payload staging and delivery, including data exfil. According to information collected by Sophos researchers while investigating the recent Ryok and Egregor ransomware attack, SystemBC has been deployed in all of their attacks during the last several months. So SystemBC is a regular part of recent ransomware attacks toolkits. Sophos has detected hundreds of attempted SystemBC deployments worldwide over the last few months. The attack investigated by Sophos used several malware as a service providers as a launching pad to deliver the initial malicious payload, and according to researchers, they involved days or weeks of time on the target's network and data exfil as well. SystemBC is used as a dedicated persistent and execution tool to automate various tasks, including the deployment of the ransomware on network endpoints after exfiltration stolen data. So, some of the tips on this, obviously defense in depth, employee education, human-based threat hunting, are all essential to detecting, blocking these kinds of attacks, this according to several researchers as well. The malicious RubyGem package used in cryptocurrency supply chain attacks, so the new malicious RubyGem package has been discovered and is being used in a supply chain attack to steal crypto from unsuspecting users. RubyGem is a package manager for the Ruby programming language that allows developers to download and integrate code developed by other people into their programs. Lo and behold, we move to DevSecOps. Wow, Thursday morning, I am so sorry. This has been a very, very long week. And today, I've got more stuff coming on. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. So anyone can upload a gem to the RubyGem repository. It allows threat actors to upload malicious packages to the repository in the hopes that another developer will integrate it into their program, essentially building a backdoor within the source code. Today, open source security firm Sonatype reported on 2 malicious Ruby packages that install a clipboard hijacker. These packages are masquerading as a Bitcoin library and a library for displaying strings with different color effects. The malicious packages are named Pretty Color 0.8.1.gem and Ruby Bitcoin 0.0.20 point gem and contain a malicious Ruby script that creates a VPS script that acts as a clipboard hijacker. The Ruby script includes a comment containing a shout out to the reversing lab who previously discovered 760 malicious Ruby packages that also performed clipboard hijacking, so essentially teasing the guy who found it. Oh, the sense of humor in our industry. The list of addresses used for the attackers for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Monero are available on our website. Again, cyberhubpodcast.com. I'll put that up on the screen for all of you. If you're listening, it's right below in the description of the podcast. You can go there as well and see it. So, good news on the SolarWinds FireEye side, and really just an example of dedication and work and teamwork. Microsoft, FireEye, government, they all came together to solve the SolarWinds thing. And so now a kill switch has been identified and activated for one of the pieces of the malware delivered by the threat actors as part of the attack targeting IT management and monitoring firm SolarWinds and its customer. This according to Security Weekly. FireEye, which disclosed the attack earlier this month after the threat actor managed to breach its system and steal some red team tools, revealed that the attacker had compromised SolarWinds and delivered a piece of malware named Sunburst. The malware, which is configured to remain dormant for a certain period after installation, is capable of collecting information about the infected computer, downloading and executing code, creating and deleting files, reading and manipulating registry entries, rebooting the system. During its analysis of the malware, FireEye noticed that the Sunburst had been communicating with a domain named avsvmcloud.com, and they worked with Microsoft and Registrar GoDaddy to seize control of that domain. The kill switch, according to a statement by FireEye, depending on the IP address, returned when the malware resolves. Under certain conditions, the malware will terminate itself and prevent further execution. The statement continues to say the kill switch will affect new and previous Sunburst infections by disabling Sunburst deployment that are still beaconing to avsvmcloud.com. However, in intrusions, FireEye has seen this actor move quickly to establish additional persistent mechanisms to access to victim networks beyond the Sunburst backdoor. This kill switch will not remove the actor from victim networks where they have established other backdoors. However, it will make it more difficult for the actor to leverage the previously distributed versions of Sunburst they added. Obviously, a ton of victims here. Some reports said it was Russian hackers, specifically Cozy Bear 29. Hasn't been confirmed, guys. Everywhere we see Russia. I'm telling you, it's not Russia. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. I'm sorry, it doesn't add up. If you didn't watch the Tech Town Square yesterday, it's on this YouTube channel. You can go and watch it. Eddie and I talk about this. I lay out all the facts of why I don't think it's Russia. I also lay out some evidence I found threat hunting on my own. So you can go and do that. Check it out. The Tech Town Square from yesterday with myself and Eddie. We talk all about this, and I talk about how, man, people are jumping on Russia. And I'm like, I'm not a Russian sympathizer per se, but something stinks here, and it ain't Russian. So our final story for the week, folks, is the Trend Micro does patch a serious flaw in the products used by companies and governments. So the patch was updated this week for the Interscan Web Security Virtual Appliance. The vulnerability, which were discovered by Wolfgang Ettlinger, a researcher at Austria-based cybersecurity consultancy SEC Consult, and they were reported to Trend Micro in the summer of last year. However, the vendor only managed to completely patch all the security holes in late of November of this year with the release of IWSVA 6.5 SP2 CPB1919. While the validation and patching process took a fairly long time, SEC Consult told Security Week that the Trend Micro PCIRT handled the issue very professionally. Trend Micro's IWSV is a web gateway that helps enterprises protect their systems against online threats while also providing real-time visibility and control of employee internet usage. 6 types of vulnerabilities were identified in the product, including a CSRF protection bypass, XSS authorization and authentication bypass, command execution, and command injection issues. All of those have been patched. by Trend Micro. So if you're using Trend Micro's appliance in your environment, please ensure this patch is taken care of. Now that this has been announced and out in the public, you bet your sweet tail that some of these actors are going to come after it. So just don't be that guy that's waiting. That's it for our practitioner brief here today, guys. That's it for us this week. Tomorrow, my final tech corner of the year with my favorite Jacqueline Jane of KnowBe4. We talk a little bit about how to keep your family and friends safe during the holidays and just wrap up this year. We'll also talk a little bit about SolarWinds and then a little bit about that. But it's going to be a great tech corner to wrap up the year. Check out our ugly Santa sweaters. I promise it's going to be something you're going to want to watch and listen to tomorrow. That'll be out tomorrow. Later today, CISO Talk. If you have not subscribed to that podcast, please do. Jason Loomis of Mind Body will join me to talk a lot about documentation and policy creation by CISOs, and he actually has a passion of doing that. So it was weird and also insightful at the same time. Great tips for practitioners, great tips for people who want to write and execute policies and documentation within their organization. So tune into that. At 11 a.m., I will be live on LinkedIn with my great friends Renee, Chris, and the legendary Naomi Buckwalter. We'll be taking in your questions at 11 a.m. today on LinkedIn, so you can go and check that out. Just go to my personal page, James J. Azar on LinkedIn. You can get it there. The link is also below in the description of the podcast. That's it for us here, folks. Be back on Monday. Short week next week, but we'll be sure to cover it. On Christmas Eve, I'll be doing an AMA, so you can tune in to that as well. Until then, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to follow us on social. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.